Graffiti, as the name itself, is not an art. Graffiti is the application of a medium to a surface.
Obviously, a murderer, if you believe in the death penalty as I do, you want to have the option of executing a murderer. You wouldn't do that to a graffiti writer.
Hard bars, bullet to your brain frame is beef tartar, bloody and gun hungry, falling back with
I have an opinion about things, but I keep my opinion to myself. And I think a lot of people, if they kept their opinion to themselves, a lot of things would be better off.
You shouldn't tell anyone what they should do with their talent. What you should do is try to help them person grow to enough level or bring something to the table that gives their art more value. If you can't do that, keep your goddamn fucking mouth shut.
I'm from the Upper West Side. I started writing graph in 1977. Because my older brothers was writing graph, and when they went outside, they had to take the younger brother. That's how it was in the 70s. You go outside, take the brothers, take the sisters. They go with you when you go. That's how parents was. So my brothers used to go write graph, and they used to take me and be like, yo, here's a marker, stay inside the train and just write. It was tons of fun. Yeah. I was watching tons of dudes that became kings and legends and icons in the game, paint the outside of the trains. I was looking out the window. Then my brother knew mad writers. So that era of the 70s and the early 80s was definitely the best golden years of hip hop and graffiti alone. Well, I used to write two other things, then I had stopped, and we was practicing in my crib, and I did a nice, and everybody was like, yo, write nice. The O came about because dudes used to get me confused with NICEO from Tight Crew. For some reason, he was a whole lot better than me, but they used to always get us mixed up. So West FC had did a Westo, and I was like, oh shit, the O looked crazy on it. So I added the O to mine, and it just got stuck. Once I started doing a lot of shit, it just stuck. So I never got rid of it. CM is Criminal Minded. Criminal Minded was just a crew from around my way that I knew mad dudes with. We was always together.
Check out the flavors.
Rap City. Representing uptown. CM all.
So it became just the norm. That's the crew I ran with.
Got you.
Then once you run with someone for a long period of time, it just sticks. One of the head dudes from CM, my boy Devs, CM, he was already chilling with certain CM dudes when he brought me in. And he brought me in because he wanted to have someone to have his back too. And I was always with him anyway, so that's how I
got you. It naturally just came together.
Well, I think everybody gets confused on how CM came about. CM is a crew that started in the neighborhood like any other neighborhood. And the Upper West Side was full of Familia, Ball Busters, Latin Kings at the beginning, Black Spades, Black Guerrilla Army. I'm trying to think who else. It was another couple gangs out there. And we was the youngest ones of the members or associated members of those gangs. So we wanted our own. So what happened is that they got together and it was a block thing. And when we came in, it became to be more of a New York thing. Then as we got into hip hop, it became a worldwide thing. So it was a couple names like Cash Money, Creative Minds, Cookies and Milk, Constipated Monkey. And I think the Constipated Monkey thing became more of a worldwide thing because of Curious George.
By the record, Constipated Monkey. Word up. So you know what I'm saying? As long as you know everyone out here looks out for us,
And all over the country, you know, we'd be all right. Put a little food in the stomach, money in the pocket.
Sadat Eggs, Mike G from Jungle Brothers, Lord Sear from MF Doom, of course, because KMD was with us all the day. Third Base was with us all the time. So I think that's where the Constipated Monkey came. Then once they started really saying it, because Criminal Minded was kind of crazy saying it, especially at the time when it was so much criminal activities. So they didn't want to associate that with doing records, and people shy away from it because a lot of people shied away from it.
Yeah, behind the scenes, money, deals,
and
executives. You want to scare people away before you even get popping.
Right, but at that time, most of us, we ain't even care. We was like, yo, dude, we don't give a fuck. But as we grew up, we started realizing, yo, it was scaring people away. Like you said, it made people feel a certain way. But also, we was playing a role or doing what exactly we said we were. So it wasn't like we wasn't doing that. But it was still, it's not a good look.
It wasn't like, hey, come over here, put this costume on, wear this gold chain, put these gold teeth in, and rap for me real quick.
Like that.
It wasn't a gimmick.
Nothing like that.
So it wasn't something they can necessarily even control or profit off of necessarily, because who knows what's going to happen between today and tomorrow. So yeah, just that lifestyle, and I guess it being labeled or kind of looked at that way with that stigma, I could see how, you know, just switching things up a little later on could benefit the crew as a whole.
But I think it also started changing, like you were saying too, when business came about, when we started seeing and we started like, yo, the corner ain't for us. Let's do something different. When we started opening up businesses, when we started getting established alone.
Legitimacy.
Then, dude, the biggest shit is Jungle Brothers was running with us. And it was just was crazy. They running with us, and we with them all day long, and we criminals, and we doing all this bad shit. So it had to change, because Mike G wasn't really with that shit. He was like, yo, it's cool, y'all handle business if you have to handle business, but don't create.
Yeah, you're actually living and thriving and dwelling in this.
Yeah.
React to it if necessary, but you kind of got to separate yourself from that situation. So those those things that might pop about are less likely.
Right.
The probabilities of things like that happening are less likely.
But like they always say, when you carry negativity around you, it brings negativity. So we started learning to change that and just be different and rock different. Cause yo, listen, we became a business. It was literally like, even with Red Alert, we were Red Alert every day, and we have to represent him. And he wasn't like, yo, listen, y'all can do y'all. I'm with that. Don't never let no one disrespect you or do this. But yo, son, you have to realize you gotta hold some of that, because this is a business, and a lot of times business not gonna go the way you want it to go. So you have to learn how to be like,
I'm gonna
eat that and move on, and do something where these dudes regret not doing business with.
And sometimes even when something doesn't go your way, there's still a lesson to learn that can help you.
Yeah,
move
hell
forward.
yeah.
Try to pull the positive or whatever information you can out of it, and as quick as it didn't happen, is as quick as you got to be on to the next thing. Stay working.
And I think now, with us being who we are and how things are just in the graffiti world itself, it's kind of cooler, because real criminals make criminals look different. Then tons of people was getting people that they love that was getting locked up. Now, even if you go look at certain celebrities, when the Cook chick got locked up, it literally changed how people look at criminals, because she was filthy rich and they never thought she was gonna get locked up, and she was cooking food and making curtains and all type of shit, and all of a sudden she get locked up. Now she hanging out and smoking weed with Snoop Dogg. Nobody thought that was gonna happen. So it really changes your perception on looking at who did crimes and why they did crimes. And I think when that door opened up, even from Fed Magazine, Don Diva, the guys from overseas that was mobsters, and they started clothing lines and all type of shit, it just opened the door for dudes to show you that, look, this is not really what I was doing, but this is who I really am. This is what I really wanted to do, and I just got caught up in the moment.
Yeah, that's not me. This is where I'm at.
Right.
But I was just living life,
Yeah,
figuring it out.
That's how it is, especially growing up in the 70s and 80s. There wasn't nothing there. So you had to make your way. So
More so than anything, the city was not what it is now. The
Nah,
shit was
definitely
destroyed, burnt
Definitely
out, abandoned buildings. Police didn't give a fuck. There was no stopping at a light. Some of the lights didn't even work.
Yeah.
It was just not to say it was the worst place on the planet, but just wasn't
it wasn't.
a place for soft motherfuckers. You get
Definitely
eaten
wasn't.
alive very quick.
Definitely wasn't. With low lives, it was the clothes. We was wearing polo. They was wearing polo. They was coming uptown to Macy's, boosting and all this and that. We was boosting out of there. One day we just all ran into each other. So when they went back to Brooklyn, we was curious to see how things was out in Brooklyn. Because really uptown dudes wasn't going to Brooklyn. There was a handful of dudes from uptown going to Brooklyn. I don't care what dudes say. This is in the 80s going into the 90s. Dudes wasn't going to Brooklyn. It was a couple dudes from uptown that was going to Brooklyn. So we ventured out. My older brothers was already going to Fort Greene and all that. So I was familiar with Fort Greene, but I wasn't familiar with the rest of Brooklyn. So we went out there one day just to see who's who, and we ran into dudes. Dudes took a liking to us, started chilling, and a couple of weeks later we was low-lives. So with D-Seps came about with the music. I think we was in D&D.
In the studios.
Right. And
What were y'all doing there?
we was doing the Jungle Brothers joint.
Okay.
So we was up in there doing it, and I think it was OGC that was in there at the time, and they was doing something. We went downstairs. Mike G knew Sean P and all them already. So when he introduced, we all just the same thing. Yo, we all got to talking. Dudes got to like, yo, this and that. And the next thing you know, we all hanging out and just chilling, because it was the music. Son, they was doing music. We was doing music, and dudes loved Jungle Brothers, and we was in love with all of Ducktown. Ducktown, we was like, yo, they was
Yeah, they had shit on Smash.
So it was definitely one of them joints like, yo. Then they was like, yo, where y'all from? And we was like, uptown. And they was like, yo, we be coming through. So it was a lot of people that we knew, that they knew. So it made it a good thing. It's always a difference between uptown and Brooklyn.
Hell yeah.
So you could
Slang,
always feel
dress,
it in the air.
everything, yeah.
But also it was a point of like, we was already dressing, and we already had the swag of Brooklyn characters. So being uptown, you still got the money, how to move and all that. But we was going to Brooklyn because my brothers was dating girls that was living in Brooklyn. So I already was picking up the dress code, how to talk. So we was already doing that. Then Africa and Sammy B lives in Brooklyn. So it was already there. So it just came a little bit more the more people you meet. Then with me, I was in Brooklyn so much now because I had so many people to go see and so many people come out. Uptown dudes thought I was a Brooklyn dude. So I just left it like that. I was like, you know what? Think whatever. And I loved how the way Brooklyn dudes was anyway. And I think, what am I saying is I have an uptown heart, but my spine is Brooklyn.
Nice.
So just to show dudes, listen, you could do what you want. Remember, my spine ain't yellow. My shit's Brooklyn. Dude, so you know what you want to get from me. So you need to watch your steps and what you say around. So I think that's became a whole CM thing, especially when more members of CM started going there. It just became more like, yo, you know what? Brooklyn. Then it just became that our thing, but we wasn't claiming Brooklyn. It was just like, yo, everybody was already saying, yo, we was from Brooklyn, so you know what? We ain't correcting motherfuckers. No, let them say what they want. Zulu Nation became, and that was home. That was home base. head dudes from Zulu Nation lived in my block, like Scotty, all these dudes, Pharaoh and all of them dudes, I grew up under. Because of my older brother was Father Center, then my old brother became God Body, so he knew all of them, and they was in my neighborhood. So Zulu was always a base, and it was the biggest crew out there in New York at this time, especially when hip hop was coming about. Everybody else was going to Zulu, so Zulu was there. Then when getting down with Jungle Brothers, Violators, everybody from Violators, everybody from Jungle Brothers, Red Alert was Zulu Nation. So it's easy to fall right into the Zulu Nation. I used to do shirts for Mike Cock and Deefer. They was the ones who was running around in the late 80s, early 90s with the Mickey Mouse, with the Gucci on and all that. I think Dapper Dan was already established at this time. Yeah, Dapper Dan was established because me and my little brother used to work for Dapper Dan. I was already doing printing, so I used to do some printing for him. Okay. But it was like more like come in and see what he's doing so I could learn the business.
Got you.
So a lot of my business learning
savvy
and all that came from him.
And he's a serious dude. So
he's
now,
real serious.
Yeah, because I see him often in Harlem. He don't smile. He'll say what up and all that, but he's a serious man. But so now you're doing your thing with Dapper Dan. You start making these shirts. Right. These two cats are running around, so you connect with them.
Yeah, so I connect with them, and they ran with Alpo.
So they was getting money.
Yeah.
Dudes.
So what dudes see, like when it come some Mob Style and all these other dudes, the association was bigger than what dudes see whatever Dame Dash movie was. It was a whole lot of them motherfuckers. So I used to mess with them a lot and be with them. And D-Ferg used to write graph too. So it was easy to really get along with them. So once we started doing our thing together, they used to tell me all the time, come uptown. So they introduced me to them. So once I got uptown, I met them, and it was all good. Like, it was always like, that's little man that did the shows.
Got you. And Alpo and all them was around,
and
that's how you got associated with them.
You get associated with them, you hang out with them now and then.
Yeah,
it wasn't like I was with them motherfuckers like every fucking day. Yeah. My shit is writing graph. I was with graph writers. Yeah. But anytime I went uptown, I could go and see them or go to the block and go say what's up, and they'd be like, yo, you want to go get something to eat? Yeah. And it was like that. So
friendly affiliation. And Gangsta Lou?
He was one of the dudes that showed us mad though.
Hey yo, what TV is that?
HBO.
HBO? What's up? Gangsta Lou in the house from Mob Style.
All right, Gangsta Lou. They just pick you up this morning?
I've been here since Tuesday.
Not in this little place here.
Man,
we met him through everybody else. It was just, they was all together. I think it was one day when they was doing a joint on 125th. I can't remember if it was Grant's Tomb or whatever the festival was when they closed down the 125th. We was up there and we ran into all of them and they introduced, like, yo, listen, this is my little man NICEO. So it was all good.
Do me a favor, cut off the camera real quick. Yeah. Cut it off.
What happened next is Bushcamp told us I'm a dangerous man, a very dangerous man, and that he had done time for the murder of another man.
Basically, stupidity. I was doing dumb shit that I shouldn't have been doing and got caught out there. One of them was attempted murder.
Attempted murder. And then there was...
But it was tons of shit I beat. And it was tons of shit that got thrown out. But so, the one that stuck, that's on paper, is attempted murder.
So there were previous run-ins with the law, previous
it was
cases,
a whole
and you were basically, I don't want to brag, but a John Gotti-ish kind of situation. Yeah. You were knocking shit down, they were hitting you with charges they couldn't stick, and then they got this attempted murder charge, and they got that one to stick on you.
Let's put it this way. I was doing so much shit that New York State was trying to get the FBI to look at. I did 13 years, so it was a pretty long stretch. With me, I got taken out of a situation. It could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, really bad worse. Because at one point, I was looking at literally my life was over. Then top it off, you get put in this situation, and it's the worst situation for anyone because you're incarcerated. But then it's the people that's around you and the lessons you get from that. Because off the back, I was meeting brothers that literally changed my life. They gave me literature to read. They was like, yo, you need to do this. Because they seen
sense
something.
of direction.
Right. When you get that sense, when you started having the conversations with these dudes and you incarcerated, so you already on some bullshit. You don't know what dudes' approach is. You don't know what they're going to say. But then when you start seeing and you start hearing some of the brothers talk and you see the knowledge that they have and you see the wisdom that they carry, you have to stop and be like, yo, maybe they honestly, it's something going on that's telling me. Because I had like 3 old men that taught me chess. And they was kicking my ass. I was doing push-ups like all day long. Yeah? But the catch was they taught me to be patient. They taught me to learn how to move different. So
strategic.
Right. And most people don't even see the lesson in that. Then it was the books they was giving me to read. Not only the black dudes, the white dudes, the Spanish dudes, it was the Chinese dudes and all that. Because one big thing about me, especially when I was incarcerated, everybody at that time that was incarcerated with me, 3,000 dudes, I had the whole jail watching Dragon Ball Z. So that became like a big thing. And that, I think, became the biggest, you bigger than what life is. So you have to learn to move a certain way. You can't move like that. Because if you got 3,000 dudes watching a goddamn cartoon and this is a max prison, you somebody. You have to start looking at life different. Dudes just was loving the way who I was.
The vibes, yeah.
And I was doing, and they seen how I was holding myself. And it was like, yo, you know what? And it fed. The conversations, the knowledge I obtained from them, the way I listen, the way I talk, the way I mind my business. So I think it played more of a role. It was times where I had to literally show my ass, but those times was little.
Yeah.
It was more love during my incarceration that made me want to come home. Because like I told you, yo, I'm one of the dudes, I did all this time and I ain't got a cut on my face.
Talk about it.
So that got to tell you when dudes was getting can topped all day.
Yeah.
Every day. Son, we was laying on the floor in the mess hall every day. So if I ain't get can topped and I move a certain way, you gotta see shit different. You gotta just be different. And I wasn't cooking for niggas either. Don't get that shit twisted like I was moving away or I was fucking with chumps and all that. Nah, son, I fucked with everybody. Yo, the Bloods was working out with me. I had dudes from the Crips working out with me. Son, it was crazy. My whole workout team was a bunch of niggas that wasn't fucking with each other. And they came to work out and they was fucking with each other. And that's what made everybody like, yo, what the fuck is, and what he's saying to niggas. So, and that's the ill shit. And I will always go home with that. Yo, my man Green Eyes is one of the big dudes in fucking Latin Kings. I love that nigga to death. To this day. He used to have, me and him used to have the deepest conversations. My man Pepsi from the Crips. Every day. My man Red Zone. Every day we used to talk. Yo, son, they used to come work out with me. Yo, it used to be crazy. And dudes used to see them working out and be like, yo, them niggas is at war. Them niggas don't even like each other. Why they fucking with him? And it was mad of us working. It was just because, yo, listen, dudes seen a bigger picture, and I learned that. There's a bigger picture in different calling that we had to get into, we had to do, and that's what I started doing. But I don't want dudes get it twisted. I ain't on no shit where niggas won't get their head taken off their body. But, I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Through the music and through graffiti. It was always been dudes write graffiti or they have some involvement with graffiti. That's how it started. Then it became you being around Red Alert and running with the Jungle Brothers. And it's like, oh shit, I know you, yo. And it's the same thing. So it's always a big, to me, it was always like a big thing and always mad love when we all got together. Or I ran into somebody and somebody knew somebody, or they mans and them wrote and they seen something I did. So it was always none but love.
Oh, so like Rakim, for example, I see you do a live with him. You know him through.
I know Rakim from writing graph, but before.
So he was a graph writer.
Yeah, he was a graph writer. He wasn't writing with me. He was writing. He's the age of my brother, so my older brother. So he was writing. So I knew him from that.
And he was in the Bronx with it, or he was all around with it.
He was trying to get all around with it, but then it became when he got signed to Zakia Records. Zakia Records' father is my president of CM, K. Nick.
Oh.
So when he came over to the crib one day, we was just all sitting in the crib, and he was like, "Yo, ain't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, you." And he was like, "Yeah, I just signed with." So it wasn't no real. He's a star. We knew he wrote, he did rhymes and all that. We knew he was official, but it was like, yo, he wrote graph. So it was like, yo, we was fucking with him because he wrote graph.
Got you, and that was something that was developing and popping off and would become. But at that moment in time, it was a graph.
It was a graph thing. Yeah. Same thing with Mike G. Same thing with MF Doom. It was always a graph thing. Same thing with Artifacts.
Yeah, because MF Doom was down with CM and all that too, right? So that was just basically him doing graph with y'all?
Yeah, it was graph.
He was an uptown cat. His brother,
right? He was from Long Island, but he came and chilled. He was chilling with us uptown.
Okay.
So it's the same thing with Artifacts. Artifacts was down with FC, and FC is from my neighborhood, and they was coming in and they was fucking with Curious and them, so they was around us, and we all wrote graph. So it wasn't about the MCing and dudes getting on to make a record. It was about the graffiti. So once you really, then dudes like, oh shit, I'm making a record, or they made a record. It was like, oh shit, yeah, yo, son, I gotta pump that, cause those are my people. So if you look at KRS-One or anything like that, anything that got to do with Criminal Minded itself, that's what it was about. It was a graffiti thing before it became the record thing. And then when it became the record thing, everybody else was getting it confused. Because we was already established as a crew before all the other shit came about. It's just the other shit fed what we was doing.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, that shit it played a big role. And like I say, even when you take Mike G, you take Sammy B, you look at MF Doom, you look at Curious, you look at even Sadat X and them, Artifacts and them, Be Real from Cypress Hill. Son, it was about graph. Rakim, it was about graph.
See, that's what I was gonna ask you. Them being West Coast cats, how did you connect with them dudes?
Because they used to come over to New York all the time.
Oh yeah,
I think because of the fact that they was whatever record company they was on.
Yeah, got the press runs.
Yeah, I think they was coming to New York and we just met up and it was like, yo, they from there, we from here. Yo, they showed mad love and they was about it.
And y'all met in the studios, or this was just they was out here bombing in the streets?
I think we was all in Def Jam.
Okay.
When we first ran into each other, and I heard Be Real, and I was like, hold up. And I was like, yo, you Be Real, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yo, son, that shit you dropped is crazy. He was like, good looking. I was like, yo, I'm down with Jungle Brothers. So that's how that shit all came about.
Okay, got you. And as a collective, have you worked with any of these artists outside of the Jungle Brothers on any pieces, any artwork? Y'all still in touch? Like,
nah, we stay in touch, but we didn't do anything. What we trying to do, everybody wants to do shit, but like dudes is grown men. It's kind of different. It's kind of